27th of February. Hope you all had a good weekend. Since Twitter announced that they were ending SMS 2FA, there has been an increased interest in uh, actual 2FA authenticator apps. So the options are hardware keys or app-based codes if you want to carry on using 2FA on Twitter, and yeah, I seriously recommend that you do. Um, so, what options are there if you are looking to move to an app-based 2FA solution? Well, up until recently, I think most people would have just immediately said, "Well, there's only Google Authenticator," but there are some others as well. Authy is a perfectly decent open source solution. Um, and there are other solutions out there, some native solutions being built into stuff. iOS 15's password app can do 2FA codes. Didn't actually know that one, but there we are. Apparently it can. However, this has also been seen as an opportunity by fraudsters to create dodgy 2FA apps. And in a recent study, a large number of 2FA apps that are available on the App Store or the Play Store are the sorts of things that are sort of charging you $20 to $40 for the app actually are atrociously written in the background. There's some like technical reasons which we don't have time to go into too much depth on those, but stuff like the seeds are poor, just basically they're poorly written. So there's a really good article by Naked Security on the Sophos website that explains some of these problems. We'll link the article at the end of the briefing. What this basically shows is that there's a proliferation of apps that are just being thrown together any old how with the intention of making money out of unsuspecting people who are looking to move towards application based app based 2FA. Would recommend you stick to the ones that are tried and trusted. Google Authenticator, yeah, very tried and trusted. If you don't particularly want to have all your eggs in the Google basket, as I say, iOS has a native 2FA app in it. What else have we got? Most password managers these days give you the opportunity to have 2FA. So if you trust them with your passwords, you might as well trust them. Well, you might choose to trust them with your 2FA tokens, and some of the more enterprise level tools such as Okta can also do simple stuff like 2FA as well as all as the single sign-on and so on, all the corporate stuff that they're famous for. So just watch out. Don't trust all apps from app stores. Talking of not trusting, the Dutch police have arrested a group that were suspected of running ransomware attacks, and it turns out that one of the three people arrested apparently works as an ethical hacker for the Dutch security organisation, the Institute for Vulnerability Disclosure, which is an association of security researchers and is government funded. So, yeah, there we go. We shouldn't be surprised that people with criminal intent will focus on getting into security organisations. There's been a shocking spate of news in the UK about policemen doing extremely dodgy things because they've kind of slipped through the cracks of vetting. Well, so it isn't surprising then that in the background, people with malicious intent are looking to get roles and work in security, security research organisations. all you can do really is just make sure that if you are engaging with offensive security people, that you're engaging with them through an organization that you trust and that you've done your due diligence. Um, to to try to limit the your exposure, especially around pen testing. Pen testers walk away with a lot of knowledge about how your organization or weaknesses within your organization. Also recommend that if you have been pen tested, don't ignore the results, because there are people out there that know how to get how to break you. So yeah, oh well, sad day in that sense, but somewhat unsurprising. Microsoft are building a VPN into their Edge browser. It's been testing for a while and is looking like it's moving towards um, being rolled out in the not too distant future. It's a lightweight free VPN service that Microsoft's offering through the Cloudflare network. Um, it's free. It's part of the browser, but it doesn't give you much in the way of much in the way of sophistication. You can't choose, where your VPN is being terminated. You have very limited interaction with what's going on. But it's free and it's trustworthy, or at least one would hope it's trustworthy if it's Microsoft and Cloudflare. So if you are working in environments where privacy is particularly important, then this is not a replacement for traditional VPNs, be they the the corporate type VPNs or the home user types, but it will still give you better protection than not having a VPN on, and it does hide a lot of your browsing from your ISP, which is not necessarily a bad thing. So yeah, interesting one. That most free VPNs, by the way, should be treated with suspicion. There has been a long history of free VPN software that actually is logging your data and selling it to the highest bidder. So if you need more than something like this, rather than choosing some dodgy free app off the App Store or wherever, definitely recommend going with some of the better known, bigger names out there. Just do some research into how they put together their infrastructure and what their published policies are on logging your data, and make sure that they're actually covering your privacy properly. And finally, from me, there has been a military cyber warfare exercise called Defence Cyber Marvel 2, DCM2, been held in Tallinn. 34 teams from 11 countries were competing in this. The idea being to improve, upskill the defence services across these 11 countries, um, with the object of the exercise really being able to protect the nations and West in general from cyber attack. So um, it has the it has completed, and the UK Armed Forces won and were followed quite closely, I believe, by the team from Tallinn in Estonia, which again isn't surprising because Estonia has invested a great deal of money into cybersecurity and cyber defence recently. So I think that's a good thing. It's good to know that in the UK and in Europe we have got some very proficient defenders. Working to protect us. The exercise apparently simulated some of the tactics used by Russia to disrupt Ukraine at the beginning of the invasion a year ago. So it is good to see that the lessons are being learnt from that, and those lessons are being taught to cyber defenders at a nation state level. That is all from me today. Hope you have a great Monday, and I'll speak to you again tomorrow morning.